right, Nick. I was vibing to that a little bit. I like that. I don't know where you got that from, but I like that.
It
Don't
says
like
it.
the Reds game that we've seen so far, but that's part of it.
It says in StreamYard it's royalty free, so we're gonna see
I like that.
if that ruins our monetization from the 6 people that are gonna watch this today. I'm gonna be really pissed.
I bet you will be. Yeah, it's what a tough one. I mean, we'll save whatever we can for the show because I really don't know what it is exactly we're going to talk about. But here we are. I tell you what, this 3D game day thing here, that's really cool, man. I mean, I have to check this out myself. I don't think I've ever seen this.
It's the only way you can get like a decent score to like pop up if you for what I do. You were able to get it nice because you have the straight up. I can't do that in StreamYard. It has to be big. So yeah, it looks pretty
I
good.
know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The sky looks really pretty in that. Like, what is that?
How do you get to that, by the way?
You hit you see where it says 2D now? If you click that on game day, I think it's only on desktop.
Yeah, I'm on desktop.
You click, there should be a 3D button in the top corner. Click that.
No, it doesn't show that. Must be special beta.
Maybe I have maybe a Chrome extension or something. I don't know.
In the top left-hand corner, there's like a live summary and video.
Top right-hand corner.
Right, but then in the right-hand corner. Interesting. Is it because the screen layout?
All right, what did Buck do? Yeah, it's just kind of one of those days. I mean, I don't. What do you?
Yeah, Nick Martini got a hit. That's good. It's gonna help the case out.
He did? Are you ahead of me?
He got a hit.
Was that earlier?
This is on game day.
He just got a hit. Yeah, that was his first hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only reason I knew that was because I'm on game day, which is the fastest thing in the world. I think.
Well, we'll see.
Ahead of radio too.
Well, see, the nice thing is if you do the 3D for what we do, it's like not as fast as the.
I see what you're talking about. There's a 2D and a 3D thing in the top right hand corner of the game day.
Yeah, you click that button.
It doesn't. There's not. They don't have that on this one.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know if it's.
I went to the Reds website and clicked game day off that. So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Man, you must have like some kind of special deal. I like it though. I mean, what I can see of it, of course. Yeah. Today's a tough one.
I think Trace's volume is going to go up, folks. Craig just texted me. I just turned on auto adjust your volume, so as you talk, it should even with me.
I could probably pump it a little bit too. Maybe this might help. I don't know.
Well, it shouldn't matter really where it's at. If that auto's on, it should even out with both of us. You just have to talk a little bit for it to kind of catch up.
Synchronize. Figure itself out.
Yeah. The Brewers win?
Last I checked, the Brewers.
Gary Sanchez at a 2-run. Yeah, they won 7-5.
7-5.
Man. Gary Sanchez at a 2-run.
That's another thing too. Are the Reds ever going to play division games?
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. I guess it's kind of more fun if you play a lot of them at the end of the year.
I'm glad we're not playing them right now, for being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
but just in general, I do think it might be a little more.
Yeah. Dramatic.
Hey, look at this. Ricky Logan. This is from Twitter. I guess. Yeah, he's commenting in the Twitter live stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just all the small bells and whistles. Yeah.
Yeah. We're right on right on each other's. We're on the same page, I think is what they say. Oh, man. Well, let's hope Candelario can maybe get back on track too. I was gonna say let's get this thing over with, but then Candelario.
Wouldn't mind. Yep. Well, that's the ball game. All right, I got the short intro, folks. Don't worry. We got the short. I uploaded it just for you today. So here we go, folks.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the line, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, Nick. Losing edition of Chatterbox Reds midday businessman special, as some would say, and there's really not a whole lot that was overly optimistic to discuss in regards to the offensive performances outside of maybe Elly De La Cruz, and he didn't even get a hit. So shout out Espinal, shout out Luke Maley. Did we get any more when I was trying to load in?
Martini got one.
Martini got one. All right. Look at us. Look at us, everybody. Some people are going to get mad at me for maybe being like this, Nick, and it doesn't mean that I don't care. It just seems that it's inevitable. Like you're going up against one of the better pitchers in the game of baseball, completely in the entirety of baseball, and not only that, you got an offense that I hate to say this right now, but it just feels like they're a little bit lost in space. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wheeler has the most wins above replacement of any pitcher since 2018. So, and you're going with Nick Martinez, who's been bounced from a starter to a reliever, and I mean, this is a game you're going in with house money. Would have been great to get a win, but it is what it is. You move on, and the tough road continues. Now you got to go play the defending world champs. But hey, look, overall, this was a good series for the Reds, going up against 4 really tough pitchers. You're able to get out with 2 wins. This is really what anyone, and I think rationally, could have hoped for going in. So hopefully just keep it moving along.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to even put together what I just watched into words that are even somewhat meaningful. And I said last night that I was going to give Candelario some time, and I'm going to do that. Like, I have to do that. I'm forcing myself to do it, right? It's almost like a bad habit right now is to start talking about just how frustrating it is. I think some of it's just the fact that the way his at-bats look sometimes are frustrating. I don't know how you kind of look at it or feel about it, but, I guess for all intents and purposes, if you hit a ball 100 miles an hour on the ground and it's a ground out, or you flail at one and it's a little 40-mile-an-hour flare that the shortstop catches is without a problem, they wind up being the same production level, but it doesn't feel the same, right? Like Tyler Stevenson, it felt like for quite some time, Nick, Tyler Stevenson was seeing the ball well. He just wasn't being the beneficiary of some tough breaks. maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but it doesn't feel like Candelario's anywhere close to that right now, which is a little concerning. But having said that, I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to be patient with him. I don't know if you want to talk about Martinez first. I know we don't have the rundown in front of us, but I'll let you steer the ship here. If you got a box score recap, let's do that.
I got a little bit of a box score recap. I mean, there's not really a whole lot. Nick Martinez gave up 4 runs in the 3rd inning, capped off by a Bryce Harper 2-run homer. He would give up 1 more in the 6th. Zach Wheeler was absolutely dominant over 6 innings. Reds really only had 1 chance off him, and that came in the 3rd inning. It was actually a pretty good chance. Candelario actually led off with a walk. Santiago Espinal singled. He's now reached base in 6 of the last 7 games. Excuse me. And then with 2 outs, Elly De La Cruz had a really impressive walk, fell behind 0-2 in the count, came back and worked a walk. And then this is like kind of wasn't the Reds' day. Steer just misses a double down the left field line. And then he lines out to the warning track to end the inning. That was really the only threat. Reds bullpen, though, shout out to these guys. Sam Bull threw a scoreless inning. Buck Farmer through 2 scoreless innings. Buck Farmer has a 3.07 ERA. So shout out to Buck Farmer for eating up a couple innings. But yeah, I mean, just wasn't the day. But we have a deep drive of the day, and it was Spencer Steer's flat. It actually is apropos that the deep drive of the day actually was a pivotal point in this game.
It was. Listen, I think Sean in the chat just mentioned it. Sometimes it comes down to one swing in the game. I don't think that was the case today, to be fair. I do think that this one swing could have made a big difference, but I'm not going to overly just come out and say, like, oh, the Reds find a way to scratch and claw and win for sure if they get a little more fortunate. The deep drive of the day was a fly out, which is a little disheartening. And Spencer Steer, Nick Castellanos, this is the one where he was running around looking like his head was cut off, right? A bit. And essentially, from a winning perspective, it felt like it says it was only 11%, Nick. It felt like maybe 111%, if we're being completely honest. Especially when you have Wheeler, a guy that you're not going to give that many opportunities to score against. But the deep drive of the day is sponsored by DSC. They are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And thank you, as always, to John and his team at DSC. Yeah, Nick, Steer put a couple good swings on the ball today. Just wasn't rewarded for it, I guess, is the right term to use. I mean, I'm trying to be nice. I at the end of it all, it's like, this is why yesterday was such a big deal. This is why I was so fired up yesterday, is because I knew in the back of my mind what was happening the next day, or what was coming down the pike, per se. And it just makes yesterday feel that much more meaningful, because today felt like we were stealing a win if they won, right? That's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah, I do think Steer, I mean, I don't think his slump is nearly as concerning as like Candelario's, like you mentioned. Like, there's not really a whole lot of underlying metrics that can make you feel good about the way Candelario's playing. Steer had 2 more hard hit balls today. He's had a lot of hard hit balls. So I'm not really that concerned about him. I doubt really that many in Reds country is that concerned about him, as consistent as he's been, since he's came up to the big leagues. Candelario, I guess he did draw a walk off Zach Wheeler, so that's a positive. As bad as that one at bat was yesterday, he did have 2 walks yesterday, so he has at least drawn a couple walks. But I mean, he's got to pick it up. I mean, he's a guy that the Reds are really counting on. I have to hope that his track record will even out, but I can't also make up that there's some good stats that say that it's for sure coming, other than his track record, because he's not hitting the ball hard. He's hitting the ball into the ground a lot. And you just have to hope that he can figure it out here and figure it out in relatively short order.
Yeah, I was going to add something. I mean, Sean brought up something today, Spurlock. Candelario's had 2 seasons that, he unfortunately just wasn't who he traditionally is. And I am not trying to go down that path on April 25th by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not something that's completely out of the question, right? I think there was one year where he had an OBP of like 280, somewhere along those lines. So it can happen. It can happen to anybody. It's the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, he's just not off. He's not got off to a good start, and I don't know if he's pressing. I don't know if it's something else that's bothering him. But at the end of the day, we're gonna need Candelario to play relatively well here over the next. As I've said 1,000 times, and I'll probably stop saying because people are tired of hearing me say it. Over the next 30 days, we're gonna need him and CES, and certainly Elly De La Cruz continue to play well the way that he has. But I guess if you want to start on a bright spot, I don't know how long this show is going to ultimately end up going, but let's just at least say that Elly looks great right now. Like, defensively, he looks good, Nick. Like, I mean, he made a couple great plays today. I'm genuinely impressed by this kid. Like, and I know we all sit here and ooh and ah over the highlights, but like, it was very important for me, at least at some point, to see like, hey, this guy's consistently making the fundamental plays and he's consistently having good at bats, and he's done that over the last 2-3 weeks.
Some of the pitches he's laying off of are just, it's remarkable how quickly that is, how he's improved on that. And we haven't really talked about it, but, there was a lot of chatter, and sometimes this kind of chatter can really get overblown. But he worked with Juan Soto in the offseason, who's like the plate discipline god right now in Major League Baseball. And I don't know if that's what it was, but whatever it was, I mean, for him to draw a walk off Zach Wheeler, a guy that doesn't give up a lot of walks, one of the best pitchers in the sport after falling behind 0-2 is impressive. But then he also drew a walk off of Orion Kirkering. I don't know how to say his name. The Phillies view him like kind of the Reds view Fernando Cruz. Like, he's their like up and coming top reliever. He has not given up a run all year. So those were 2 walks off of 2 very good pitchers that throw nasty pitches that you have to lay off of. And so, man, just his improvement in plate discipline has taken him from a guy that was a good player at his worst to a guy that's a superstar.
I agree. I do agree with that. I mean, if he's able to become a little more polished at the plate and be selective, it takes him from good to great. It does. And I'd also say defensively, if he's capable of routinely going to his backhand side and being able to make plays the way that he did today, he goes from good to great. And again, you keep saying it, and I listen, I've never left the bandwagon, but he is very young, and you'd like to think he's going to progress, but you never do know until you see it. And he's starting to show signs that he is making significant gains. Now, the ultimate question becomes, Nick, will he continue to do what he's done the last 2 or 3 weeks consistently over the rest of the season? I don't think he will, because that means he's probably like he's genuinely an MVP candidate. And I don't know if that's the precedent we want to try to set here in this 22-year-old season. However, if he backs off of that, how much is he going to back off, if any? We'll find out. I mean, that's the good news. Before we jump more forward, let's do the game time. For those that are wondering, you don't know yet where you can get tickets. You might be asking yourself, well, I mean, what's the best way to get tickets? I'll tell you the best way to get tickets. You download the Game Time app. You use the code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y, and first of all, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. But more importantly, you get to use a really good app, and it's 2 clicks. I've done it. I'm getting ready to do it for FC Cincinnati. I think that's still I still got to convince myself of this. But yeah, you could check in all in pricing. You get some flash deals from time to time. I think you get up to like 50% off some tickets depending on the time of day. And hint the name, Game Time, Nick. You can wait pretty much right up until game time to get the tickets. So no worries about not being able to get the tickets delivered in time, et cetera, et cetera. So use the code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y, get $20 off your first purchase, and it'll be helping us out as my daughter runs through the background, and my wife's probably freaking out right now. So shout out to kids at home in the middle of the day.
Let's go.
We'll see how long she's able to last. I'm just going to see how long it takes for my wife to freak out that she's just happily in the show. Hopefully she's enjoying her dance. That's the best show I've seen today so far, to be honest.
The Reds' offensive performance did not deter her from having a good day.
No, that Rice Krispie treat's doing everything. Could you? I mean, that's the beautiful blessing with kids sometimes. Did you realize, hey, what? Life's not all that bad. Just go get you a Rice Krispie treat. You don't have to watch Jamier Candelario take at bats for at least one more day. All will be well in the world. Other thoughts?
Nick Martinez. It's so weird that he's such a different pitcher as a starter and reliever
I
so
know.
far. It makes no sense. Like, I mean, like I credit to him for getting through 6 innings and saving the bullpen, but man, he got rocked. Like there's like 12 hard hit balls. He gave up 11 hits. He didn't walk anyone. He threw strikes, which is the only reason he lasted 6 innings. But man, I don't know. Is it just a sample error?
Some of it's got to be sample error.
Got to be a little of everything, right?
Something about sample error. I also think that there's this distinct difference psychologically between being a starter and being a reliever. I do, and I think sometimes when you're a reliever, right, you don't have a whole lot of time to think about, pitching, for lack of a better term. Like you get called, hey, Martinez, you need to get up, warm up. You're in the game in what, 20 minutes, Nick, at most? Yeah, listen, she got pulled out. She just got dragged out of the basement. Probably like that replay guy that the Reds have. That poor bastard. You thought you were having a bad day? Wait until somebody goes back in the clubhouse or whoever it is that's in charge of the replays of David Bell. He's already hot. He's already probably not very happy. And next thing you know, he looks over and is like, hey, thanks for reviewing the ball that hit my man right in the knuckles. But even Barry's seen it in real time, which means it's telling you something if we're being honest. Sorry for the strays, the shots. I didn't mean that, Barry. Great shortstop. Where was I going? I was just gonna say the mindset. Martinez has time to think when he's a starter. There's you know what I'm saying? Like he sits on it all night long. He wakes up, spends all day, I don't want to say thinking about it, but he spends, the rest of the morning knowing that he's going to be the guy. I think that can psychologically be different. So I'm not saying that's all it is, Nick, but that's some of it. And I will tell you this. I've said this all year. I'll say it again. The Reds picked him up to be a reliever. They can sit there and lie straight through their face. They can sit there and say, oh, well, we signed him because we think that he could be a starter, but he could be flexible. Well, today, he was that flexibility piece, but if all things are going semi-well for the Reds, they don't plan to use him as a starter. Simple as that.
Yeah, I wonder if he got more of a run as a starter, if he would eventually prove that he's a capable major league starter. Kind of reminds me, he's a lot older than this guy, but we'll actually see him this weekend in Michael Lorenzen, because remember, he had that stigma about him. He's only good as a reliever. He can't start. And then once he finally got a chance and he got an opportunity to start, he went to I think a really bad team, if I remember correctly, in the Tigers, where he had the long leash. Like there was no like, oh, if you have 2 bad starts, you're moved right back to the bullpen. He was able to figure it out. The Reds, it's a good thing. The Reds don't have that luxury to continue to run him out there and let him figure it out. I wonder if he would over time. But again, I'm not really worried about him and his like overall role. I also think if he does have to make, if I would still give him, I think he needs to make one more start before they're expected to bring Montes back. I would still let him make that start personally. There's no one at Triple-A. Connor Phillips has walked everyone. I would probably let him make that next start. I mean, I guess that Carson Spires has thrown the ball well, but it's really Carson Spires is going to give you a better chance to win than Nick Martinez. I don't see it. So, but it'll be interesting.
They'll stick with Martinez if those are the options that are still available to them. What's the timeline on Williamson? Do we know?
Yeah, we actually got a question on the chat, so I just looked it up. It's weird. We have gotten very little information from Williamson. Last thing that we got was an update on April 10th. After being shut down in spring training, Williamson began a throwing program on April 2nd, but has not worked off a mound. Bell expects Williamson would have to go back to square one of his spring training plan and build up through 5 innings. That likely sets his target to return somewhere near the end of May. And that seems like, after actually reading that, to be optimistic, right?
Yeah, so he's hurt. Like he's actually hurt then.
It was weird though. When he got hurt, it was a shoulder injury. The way it was, I thought presented was like, oh, this is just he's gonna be shut down for a couple weeks and he'll be fine. It was really weird how it went from how
He's
it was
doing
initially
rehab then,
presented.
clearly,
though.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing rehab. I'm assuming he went and got the shoulder checked out, and they said, hey, it might be a partial tear or whatever it is in some situation, or some partial strain, to where you don't need surgery. If you get surgery, though, you're going to be out 100% until, basically next season. And they probably decided, you know what, I'll rehab this and see if I can't, basically fix it on my own. And that would give him a timetable of coming back midway through the year. So that's my guess. And they don't really want to come out and probably say what the timetable is right now, because they're trying to figure out whether or not the rehab will actually fix or start to fix the problem. And if it doesn't, then they'll just come out and say he needs to get surgery. Because if you think about it, Nick, not to get into the weeds of Williamson per se, but just the timeline of a shoulder injury in and of itself, they probably have probably 3 or 4 months right now to see if they can't get it fixed until he gets surgery. If he gets surgery, he's going to be out for the year regardless. If he gets surgery now, or if he gets surgery in the beginning of June, he'll be ready to go for next season regardless. So let's just give us a couple months here to figure out if we can't perhaps go a different angle to save the ability to come back for this season. I don't know. That's all speculation, by the way. I'm trying to read between the lines, but I'm guessing that's basically what they're trying to sort through right now. And that's why they're not saying a whole lot. And rightfully so, because the only people that are probably going to ask significant questions about Brandon Williamson more times than not are going to be us in the chat. And, I don't expect them to have to come out with answers. So having said that, we are who we are, and that's where I'm at this point, Nick. I don't know how much more we have, left in the tank of this show per se, but my final point I want to make here before we go is this is who we are right now. And listen, I'm not suggesting that you have to have a loser's mentality and you have to, play woe is us or anything like that. But I just know inevitably when I watch this ball club right now, we are inadequate offensively. I don't know how else to say it. Like there's not enough good, consistent offensive pieces on a night in, night out basis to where I don't want to say I expect for them to give us enough run support to win baseball games, but I'm leaning on the idea, honestly, at this point, hopefully our starting pitcher can hold us up a little bit. Hopefully Elly De La Cruz and XYZ can kind of pick us up this game, and then it's Elly De La Cruz and ABC the next game. Elly is such a big pivotal piece on being able to keep this team afloat, God honest truth, that he's capable of carrying this team. I don't know how many other guys are capable of carrying this team offensively, but he's one of them. Am I saying that I expect that out of him? No. But I guess I'm wishful thinking right now that CES or Candy, one of them have to get going, and they have to start driving the baseball. And their OPS has to get significantly better. And then other than that, can we piecemeal together a Santiago game? Can we piece together a, heaven forbid, a Will Benson game? Can we piece together Jay Meir getting a game? And then overall over that next, like I said, maybe this next month, we're able to scratch out, I don't know. Again, I upset some people today by saying 13-17. So maybe I'll stop doing that. But, I just inevitably know this is going to be a tough stretch of baseball for the Reds, and I'm hopeful they can find a way to scratch through it. We'll find out.
Yeah, tough stretch of baseball. I will say, though, looking at the starting pitching matchups tomorrow, we'll get to that in just a second briefly, will be really tough. But then the next three are actually, 3 right-handed pitchers, all probably average-ish type pitchers. So hopefully that. The next start lined up for Nick Martinez, though, I will say, is against the Padres. So I kind of love the idea of giving him a chance to face the team that decided he wasn't worth extending.
And they didn't really give him a shot to start, right?
Yeah. So look, that I love that extra fuel that he'll have. So good for that. I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than happy they took 2-4. Would have loved to get today, but it didn't happen. Oh well. Shout out to those watching us on Instagram. We can't do this every day. We're not able to stream to you every day, but we do this post-game show every single game on YouTube. We also have a podcast available the morning after every game. Tomorrow morning's podcast, I'll go in a lot more detail about the Rangers series, Reds minor league action and all that. But the Reds minor leagues tonight, Louisville's at 6:35, Chattanooga's at 7:15. Dayton at 6:05, and Daytona at 6:35. A really good pitching matchup at Triple-A. Carson Spires going up against Aaron Ashby. Remember the Reds saw him earlier in the year. This guy, the Brewers actually gave a $20 million extension to, and he's pitching in Triple-A right now.
Yeah.
But he's very talented. He's coming off of a lot of injuries, so I never count on a Brewers pitcher. That's for sure. But that's kind of a really fun Triple-A pitching matchup if you don't want to watch the NFL draft. And then the Reds, as mentioned, they'll be up against the Texas Rangers. Really good pitcher in Nathan Eovaldi. This guy's got a sub-4 ERA each of the last 4 seasons. Now, so Graham Ashcraft, he's gonna have his work cut out for him, defending world champs on the road. They're playing pretty good baseball so far this year. So, but like I said, I'll dive in a lot more in the podcast in the morning into this pitching matchup and the Rangers series in general.
Yeah. So final topic of conversation, I guess, that I'd like to at least do is if you could, I'm telling you, go to your phone right now, open it up, go into Spotify, go into Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast platform you consume. Go ahead and make sure you download the episodes. You give tomorrow a listen, because I'm sure that it'll be filled with plenty more conversation in regards to just, for lack of a better term, clips, Reds MILB. It'll be much different than this show, is what I'm getting at. So go give that a shot, check it out, and then we'll find a way to win out in Texas and just move on from there. One day at a time, as they say. You don't got to worry about 30 days. Just worry about tomorrow. I do like the idea, and I don't think they did this on purpose, but I do like the idea of kind of throwing Martinez to the Wolves today a little bit, giving yourself a nice fresh start with a guy that maybe you trust a little bit more in the starting rotation with Ashcraft. And hopefully you can find a way to knock off the defending world champions.
Yep.
Any advice for me tonight on managing Little League baseball? You got any words of wisdom?
I hope you have a couple Elly De La Cruzes, because it makes you look a lot better.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I'd like to have one of them. We got some good players though. We have some good players. Elly De La Cruz though. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm only an assistant to the assistant coach for 5-year-olds. So
gotcha. You're doing T-ball.
Yeah, it's more just chasing them than actually coaching. Yeah. So
herding cats is what I remember.
Yeah.
So doing your best. All right, folks. We do it. We do it after every game. Sometimes some shows are better than others. Today, it's tough, man. It is what it is. We all know it is what it is. And you're a smart baseball person if you're just ready to enjoy the rest of your day, watch the NFL draft tonight, get back better than ever tomorrow. We'll do our best to do a show tomorrow, and hopefully it's a winning edition, Nick.
And Reed and Casey are going to do like right before the Bengals select. So when the Bengals are, I think they said their
15th pick is when they're going to go live.
Yeah, so support
Bengals
those.
Select 18th.
Support those guys tonight. They're going to do some great analysis on the Bengals pick, and probably a lot more exciting show than we were able to do today.
100%. 100%.
Not a whole lot to talk about, and family stuff to do.
I would love to see what would happen if the Bengals traded up, though. Like, what would they be scrambling to their computers? Could you imagine if they were like, with the 7th pick of the draft, the Bengals have traded the blah blah blah. They're on the clock. I'd love to see like a behind the scenes footage of Casey and Reed when the Bengals are on the clock for the 7th pick, when they thought they had like an extra 45 minutes to get ready. But hey, you got to be on your game. So, all right. Love you, chat. You guys are the best. Unfortunately, just faced a good arm. I don't know how to say it. You tip your cap is what I think they say in the world that we live in. You tip your cap. So tip my cap. Wheeler, good pitcher. We move on. Nick, love you.
Love you too, brother. And excited, Trace. Be excited. Tomorrow we have an 8:05 start.
Oh man,
both of us, we can be comfortably enjoying the baseball game, not have to rush to do a stream. We're gonna have a great Friday night show after a Reds win.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you tomorrow.